chapter 6 is very important. Where is that? Yeah. So chapter 6 is very important and very interesting, especially for students who wanna pursue career in cognitive science or neuroscience. It is a hot topic these days because it is all about biology and the environment and how brain might work and how brain gonna develop. Honestly, we don't know much about brain development at this point because like the tools and the techniques that we have, they are not that much efficient. Brain structure is just too advanced and too complex. So measuring different criteria is just super challenging. Whatever we're gonna say, it's gonna be theories, which means that they are not 100% accurate facts. So just a disclaimer here. But let's begin. So, like we already talked about this, the first step of our physical development is brain. I guess it was in chapter 4, prenatal development, we mentioned that how teratogens gonna be impactful in the brain development. So like how they like negatively impactful, right? Because like teratogens, they are bad. But like if you saw any questions about teratogens and how they might impact brain, don't get surprised because they are also relevant to brain development, right? So again, brain development gonna be a product of biology and the environment. One shocking fact about brain is it has 100 billion neurons. I don't know how many, like 0 billion might have, but like that number is crazy, right? And we have like 3,000 connections in the brain. It is insane. Let me show you. Here, for example, a neuron, and here you can see connection with another neuron. And you can see thousands of them here to the point that it is so hard to understand what neuron is just connecting with another neuron. And you can see the same neuron has connection with like other neurons as well, which is insane. So that's why I'm saying that brain structure is just so complex. So the brain begins as a hollow tube, which means like the inside is empty. I guess the same as zygote. We talked about zygote in the same way. So then we have neurons that's gonna generate along the inner wall. So it's gonna be hollow in the beginning, then neurons gonna start like that from inside. I mentioned neurons a lot, but like, what is neurons actually? So let's see. Neurons is just another type of cell, but it has fancy name as neurons because the structure is just a bit different. It is similar to other cells like a skin cell and hair cell because it has nucleus again, it has like almost the same procedures, but the shape is just kind of different because like we didn't have like that kind of parts in other cells. We didn't have like big tails in other cells, like not much. Yeah, we did have tail in a sperm, but neuron tail is just different. So this part called dendrites, like that part in the head, and the bottom part called axon, like starting from here till here. So the main difference between neurons with other cells is just the shape because it has dendrite and it has axon, the whole part. Be mindful that axon is different from axon terminal. Why they are different? Because axon gonna be the whole part, right? Starting from here till here, but axon terminal gonna be just the end part, like this kind of curvy stuff, ball part. I'll give you a minute to just check the book because I wanna sip my tea, but a minute. So, um, we have two important terms here. Term number one is neurotransmitter. So what is neurotransmitter? The answer is whenever two neurons gonna get connected, they have need some chemical that's gonna transfer information to other neurons. Makes sense? For example, when neuron number one gonna send some information to neuron number two, they're gonna use neurotransmitter. Okay. But another question, another important one is how information inside each neuron travels, right? Because like information should travel from dendrite to axon and to axon terminal. So how they can travel? We have electricity here, like some sort of electrical components that gonna that gonna pass the information from dendrite to the axon terminal. Okay, but right after axon terminal to the next dendrite, like to the second neuron, we have neurotransmitter, which are chemical. So we have two terms here, chemical, which gonna come from one neuron to another neuron, and we have electrical, which gonna come inside each neuron. I hope makes sense because it is important. So another question, is neuron the only brain cell? The only fancy brain cell? Another sip, another minute. So like you can see here, we have another cell, which is kind of supportive of neuron, like supporting neuron all the time. It's called glial cell. And like you can see here, they are also important too. We don't mention them a lot because they are just backup. Like, for example, whenever you are watching a movie, you're gonna just pay attention to the actors, right? Or actress. I really don't like when English gonna separate women actor from like male actor. I feel like in my first language, we call all of them actor, and I feel like there shouldn't be any difference in terminology and that kind of stuff. But I feel like same should goes for glial cell as well because they are working that much hard as well. So glial cells are important too. They do have like backup roles like director in a movie or like producer in a movie because they are important. They actually provide nutritions. They're gonna like nourish nerve cells or neurons. They're gonna bridge the gap between neurons and blood. Just imagine we have two neurons here. So what about the empty spaces? In the blood, right? Because like they are just flowing in the brain. So that empty gap's gonna be filled by glial cells. They also form the myelin sheath around axon. Let me show you. Yeah, this is myelin sheath that you can see here. So it is so easy for any sort of electrical information from dendrite to just jump like this and be faster and go to axon terminal. Okay, so with myelin sheath, anything gonna be faster, and the organ that is responsible for myelin sheath, like producing myelin sheath, they called glial cell. Okay, and let's go back to here. We already talked about connecting of like connection of two neurons. So the empty space again between each neuron and blood gonna be filled by glial cells as well. Also, glial cells gonna provide food and nutrition for neuron as well because they do need like energy to just survive, right? So, read the book part because page 193 and 94, they are just so important. I'm going to talk to you in section 2. So.